All right, guys. Hello. It's Gary from the Laidback Bike Report, and today we have a special report. I'm here with Marshall Randall and Mark Cruz from WizWheelz, aka TerraTrike. You may know them by that name, and they are currently in Australia. Now, I'm pretty sure this all has to do with the Greenspeed deal that you probably have heard a lot about. And so I thought, what do you say we check in down under and see what Marshall and Mark are up to down there? Boys, are you there?
Yeah,
we're here, Gary. Thank you.
Hi. Well, it's great to have you on, and we're real excited to bring our viewers up to date on what's going on. We've been posting a lot about this. Everybody's been posting a lot about this. So I've got a few questions, and then if you guys have some stories to tell us along with that, let's do that as well. First of all, if you guys, one of you can give us the backstory. How did the WizWheel Greenspeed deal start out in the first place? Give us the beginning of all this.
Sure. And I think I'll let Mark fill in some blanks if I happen to leave them out here. But really, the history between WizWheelz, TerraTrike, and Greenspeed is a really, really old one that certainly predates my time at TerraTrike. It goes back kind of to the beginning, and as I understand it from Jack Wiswell, one of the owners of TerraTrike, is that at one point, Greenspeed actually acted as a distributor for TerraTrike, and I don't know exactly how long ago that was, but I'm guessing 20 years ago,
probably,
or possibly longer. And that kind of cemented that relationship. And I know that both Ian and Jack had a relationship from an engineering perspective too, as far as sharing some ideas and thoughts and stuff. So it's an old relationship, a rather unique one, and one that we're certainly glad to now be in a position to kind of renew that and take it to another level.
All right. So, which you have been in the process of doing. So tell me specifically now. So we all know about the tragic story of Ian Sims last year. He passed away. And then from that moment on, it was apparent that something had to happen with Greenspeed. And so can you give us an idea about how that interaction began and how did the process begin with you talking with Greenspeed about this?
Sure, and I'm going to bump that one to Mark, because Mark has probably been the one that has really spearheaded this unique opportunity, and certainly there's a tragic part to it as well. But Mark, I think you can probably best put it out there.
Yeah, so Gary, I think it was back in probably late July, August of 2019. We had heard from a couple of our dealers just that Greenspeed, the way it existed after Ian, didn't want to continue on trying to carry on. It's a lot of work, obviously, running a trike company. So they were looking for a way to move on and either sell or partner some other way, whatever. So in August, we made connection with Ching, and ever since then, we've just been communicating and trying to find the right common ground of what makes sense. We wanted to honor what Ian had created here. We obviously have to make a business choice to make it make sense for everybody involved. And boy, these just take time, you know? So fast forward through negotiations and lawyers and all this and that have to be involved. And we came to a final decision, and agreement was cemented at the end of January. And since then, it's been a whirlwind tour. We went down, we met with Jerome, who was the U.S. distributor of Greenspeed. I think that was probably just mid-February here. Went down and grabbed that inventory, thanked Jerome for the time, and learned everything we could from him. And that is now housed. The inventory is back in Grand Rapids. And then, boy, a week and a half later, here we are down under.
And that's exactly where I'm going next. So you guys, after that happened, you got some marching orders, obviously, to head to Australia. So can you give us an idea about what you were told about what your job was going to be down there? What was the purpose of you being sent to Australia? What was the job?
Certainly, yeah. So one is there's obviously a lot of facets to all these questions, Gary, but certainly the biggest part is counting the inventory and that just business aspect of it. But then there's the piece of it, learning as much as we can about the history and the history of the models and really the processes that Ian went through to take a trike from, concept to finish. For Mark, it means a lot of like the things that are relating to manufacturing. We have to know everything there is to do about their business. So yeah, I could go on and on about what we need to know in Taiwan and everything, but I think the thing that probably will be of most interest to the consumers, your
viewers.
Dealers for one, but so many more people than just dealers, watch Laidback Report. So your audience, I think a lot of them are going to be curious. Like, so what happens with Greenspeed from here?
I'm going to get to that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to ask that question. All right. Before we get
ahead of you.
Yeah, you always are, Marshall. That's why I'm always hesitant to put you on the air. But before we get there, I think maybe this is a good spot if we can. You told me right before we got on that there are some of the folks from Greenspeed, current Greenspeed, that are there, and maybe this would be a good chance for us to bring them on and introduce them to the audience. Sure. Is that okay?
So we're upside down, so I don't know if that's exit left or exit right. But here we go.
I think it's exit up or down, huh?
Hello, Gary.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Gary. How are you going?
And so tell me who we have there. Introduce yourself.
Wendy.
Hi,
this is Steven.
Steven, yeah.
And Ching.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Very nice to see you all. Exciting times at Greenspeed, yes?
Me too.
Yeah.
We want to be able to tell our viewers across the world what's going on here and bring them up to date on the story. So it's great to see you guys. You guys will continue to be involved?
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe you haven't got to that part of the discussion yet. But anyways, from my standpoint, we should already thank you guys for producing such wonderful trikes for so long. The wonderful work that Ian did in designing and developing, and you guys working so hard to give. You have such a devout following around the world. So on behalf of me and the trike riders that ride Greenspeed, thank you very much for what you've done. So, okay, thanks you guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
I think it would be awesome, Marshall, especially since you have offered to give us a tour of Greenspeed, something that we really haven't seen, and you can kind of give us an idea of where Ian worked and what went on there. So, Marshall, take it away. Show us what you got over there.
In tow, I've got Mark with me, Mark Cruz. So one of the things that was kind of unique is just to see all the tools that Ian used in the manufacturing process and I guess in his engineering process as well. So I'm going to go out of the picture and just kind of flip the screen around so that you can see the Greenspeed warehouse and some of those tools.
Okay, Marshall, what do we have here?
So this is a truing stand that Ian made, and I'll give a little bit of history for it. Obviously, most of us are familiar with the Park truing stand, but this truing stand that Ian made, you can adjust it for dishing up and down and that sort of thing. But one of the things that's made me think of is a story that Stephen was telling me just earlier this week. Upstairs, I came across a stack of rims that had no holes in it. So not only would Ian spend hours building wheels just to test, but he would drill his own rims in some of those instances because maybe he had a hole or a hub that had special drilling or that sort of thing. So these right here, they're riveting machines that Ching would use if maybe they had a torn seat mesh or something like that. Yeah. So they were really prepared to do just about anything here from a custom perspective. Over here, you've got the drill press and kind of, looks maybe kind of messy, kind of dirty, but I'm going to keep moving in here. This is how far it went. If you're not familiar with this particular tool, Gary, that's what
is that?
Cut and thread spokes with. So again, just speaking to that whole wheel building process, such an important part and piece of a recumbent trike. So another piece of, what do I want to say? Wheel or tire testing that Ian would use. just to kind of test. How did Ian use that particular tool?
When we bring some new tire coming to here, we need to test how that tire is fast, and put on our track.
So Steve, did he test like both Schwalbe tires and the Scorcher tire?
Yeah, Schwalbe and Schwalbe 1, tubeless one, and the Scorcher tires. Lot of tires to test, but the Scorcher tire fast.
It's the fastest.
Yeah,
And did he check for? Was he checking rolling resistance? Is that?
yeah, that's a rolling. Yeah, rolling. Yeah.
And I think some of that is actual tire wear as well.
One, lock, parking brake. Yep, and check tire. How that going? How many times? One minute. How many times to the like balance? Yeah, we to check.
So one of the things that would happen, Gary, with this particular piece of equipment is, of course, he could put different tires on and stuff, and then he would pull that handle that Stephen had his hand on and pull it back towards the floor and then release the handle, and they literally would count how many times the pendulum would swing, so to say, to test that tire for rolling resistance. And I would also say just kind of like that moment of inertia, you know, how much energy it was actually going to take to get the tire to start rolling.
And Ian designed and built that for this purpose.
Yeah,
no one else has one of these, right?
Yeah.
So as most people know, you know, like with TerraTrike, a lot of the time, or most of the time, I would say our product comes to the US already, you know, fully assembled, not a lot of customization that goes on. Of course, there's other brands that do that. You know, like Ice and stuff, you kind of, you know, customize every order, if you will. They're built to that specific order. So it's, again, very unique to walk into the Greenspeed warehouse and see like just a wall of chain rings so that they can customize that trike for whatever the consumer or dealer wanted. So on this wall, you literally will find chain ring sizes from as large as like maybe 66, you know, all the way down to just the tiniest of chain rings up in the corner.
Okay.
The ceiling literally above me is just loaded with just hand-built wheels that Stephen or Ian had built up over the years. So a lot of that stuff, just that history just hanging around. Of course, tons of trike inventory here. That's always fun. Soon to be on its way to the US. So Gary, just blank rims, lots and lots of blank rims. You know, why would they be here in Australia? Again, if Ian wanted to build up something specific for a customer, he had all those tools to do it right here.
So this would be the warehouse portion of the building.
Yeah, so small parts, just lots and lots of small parts. Gary,
Whoa.
when was the last time you saw an 80-tooth chain ring?
I believe it was at the Battle Mountain guys would have something like that. Other than that,
Okay, so that's one, right? How many 80-tooth chain rings have you seen at one time?
Holy shamoles.
Yeah.
What was he
So-
doing with those? Do you know?
So, yeah, those were predominantly produced for people who have the Arrow. And those people, because of that 20-inch rear wheel and the efficiency of that trike, people were looking for bigger and bigger gear ratios, even to that point that when Ben was here, he had an extreme interest in all the cable hubs here because they'll take all the way down to a 9-tooth cog. And these were something that were really custom. Ben said he didn't know any place that he would find any more of these in existence. So those may leave with him. But that's so you can have a 9-tooth cog. So then you take that 9-tooth cog and you marry that up to the 80-tooth chain ring. And when they're racing those HPVs, again, the efficiency of that particular piece of equipment necessitates such a large gear ratio.
Very cool.
And this literally, some of this stuff is coming out of what's called the Marshall pile. So
stuff that you just can't believe you're seeing, right?
Stuff I'm taking home because I know I'll never see it again. And I'll put it on something that I have. This is a titanium square taper bottom bracket, alloy cups. It is so crazy light, so custom. I haven't seen anything like this since the 90s. And I really doubt there's any place you would find it anywhere again. So kind of a little bit of pile so that I can have some of that history for myself. But this is the heart of the parts warehouse for Greenspeed. And just some of it probably is kind of boring, but just boxes of cassettes and boxes of hubs and boxes of brake levers and disc brakes, and some of it goes back quite a ways. So really kind of interesting to me. So when Ben was here last night, I mean, it was really fun because he's got such a wealth of knowledge as well. So we were up here, he and I and Mark and Rachel, just like plundering through the parts bins for over an hour. And so it's kind of neat again because I pick up on some of that really rich history that he knows. And I don't. Oh, hey, let's just grab a snapshot of this.
Yeah. So what is it?
So it is a Greenspeed, it is an Ian designed HPV racing shell. There are limited numbers of them out there in Australia. There might even be one at the race this Sunday. This particular one doesn't have a frame. They took a special custom chromoly frame that was an Ian design as well. So that's what I've got for you for a quick tour of the warehouse. Actually, I can tell you that some of the unique things happening here from a business perspective.
Please do.
Stephen, that was with the group here, we're still negotiating parts and pieces of that, but there's a very strong chance that Steve could continue on in some capacity here in Australia with Greenspeed. It might be under him being his own distributor. There's a lot of different pieces of it that we're still trying to iron out, but I think both Mark and I see some part of Greenspeed continuing on here in Australia for sure.
Yeah, we want to support the Australian market from an existing side and future side. So we're just trying to sort out the right solution.
And that kind of gets to go ahead, Marshall. No, go ahead.
No, and so another piece of that too that was just really, really neat that I know that you would probably be excited about. We had a very long meeting yesterday that was pretty cool. So we met with Ben and with Rachel. Rebecca, thank you.
From
Tri-Sled.
Oh, Ben Goodall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was,
there's a guy. If he's watching, I've been trying to get on the show. Maybe we'll be. So tell me, I see now. I should have known this beforehand. You might have been able to put a little word in his ear. Tell me what that was about. That is exciting.
So one is, and again, Mark has maybe a little bit better handle on this, but Ben has a pretty robust customer base of people that want and need Scorcher tires for HPV racing. And he's also looking at renewing his factory facility and setting up a small retail presence. So certainly he would like to be in a position as a dealer to sell TerraTrikes and Greenspeed. And then he invited Mark and I to go up and watch races on Sunday. So I don't know, maybe we'll send you a small video clip of Mark buzzing around the track at 40 miles an hour in an HPV.
Yeah, well, they do make, that whole pedal-free thing is amazing down there. And the HPVs that they make for the kids and grown-ups as well is something that I have got to get down there and see firsthand. We've done a show or two about that, but that's very exciting news that you had made contact. And that kind of brings me to the next question. That is what I was going for. You had talked to me, Marshall, briefly about besides getting all the information about Greenspeed and seeing the processes and doing that. Also, you're going to try to determine what TerraTrike or WizWheelz can do on a retail level in Australia. You have essentially no presence, or have had no presence up until now. And I think that's something that you're looking towards at this point. Is that fair to say? And tell me about that a little bit, if it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we've had a number of conversations with different Greenspeed dealers here in Australia, and a number of them are really excited. One, as a matter of fact, has already signed up and he'll receive his first shipment probably in the next, I would say, 30 days. So we
Of TerraTrike.
of TerraTrike,
Yeah.
yep. So we just brought on one new TerraTrike dealer. This could be an opportunity for another one with Ben. And then, yeah, where do we go from there? More dealers, more product out there, and nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. So I think that we'll bring a lot to Australia as far as recumbent presence and helping it grow here.
Oh, that's exciting news too. That'll be interesting to watch. All right. So we've talked about what you've been doing since you've been down there. I know what a lot of my viewers really want to know are more specifics about the Greenspeed products, the trikes themselves, and if you have made any decisions as far as what you're going to continue to carry, what you're going to develop, what you may not continue to carry. So can you give me an idea about if any decisions along those lines have been made, and if so, what have they been?
Sure. I think it's pretty fair to say that we've decided that no changes.
Yeah.
For now, no changes.
Gary, the stuff that Ian created is second to none, and we don't want to tamper with that. And if we do need to make tweaks, we want to do it the right way, the way Ian would do it. So we're very cautious to say, we're going to stop making this, we're going to make this, we're going to make these changes. We've already been getting some great feedback from our dealers about some minor tweaks. Everything can always be improved.
Color.
But yeah, exactly. So there will be some things coming, but I don't predict any major changes in the near future to the lineup. So
Can I tempt him with one more thing?
Maybe.
So Gary, what do you think is one of the fastest growing segments right now in the recumbent market?
The fastest growing segment in the recumbent market. It's e-assisted.
Exactly.
So you've already seen my next question, obviously. Well, yeah. So where are you going with this? I'm going to ask you anyways. Go ahead and tell me what you got.
Yeah, Marshall, where are you going with this?
Yeah, Mark would even like to know, not let alone our audience. Where are you going?
Minute to minute, Gary. I never know.
I hear you, Mark.
So, yeah, I think that both Mark and I would say that we're very excited about the possibilities as far as an e-trike within the Greenspeed lineup. I think it'll take as much as 6 to 9 months before that could be fully vetted out. But Bosch has already given us a green light that we can go ahead and move forward with using the Bosch system on a Greenspeed. Yep. So it shouldn't be what I would call heavy lifting to get something to market, but it's got to be vetted. Yeah, It's got to be done right.
Absolutely. So yeah, my question actually a little bit more specifically was about the boost kits, the Bosch boost kits that you guys had just come out with and we talked about. So you anticipate that you will be able to incorporate the Bosch motors and maybe even have a boost kit retrofitting kind of thing at some point? Maybe.
So Gary, it would be great to have something out there by RCC, something that people can test ride. And I kind of see that might be a goal to shoot for in the future to have something by then.
Right, you should have plenty of time. That's October, guys. You should, have it all settled by then. So,
and
all
Gary,
right. Yeah,
we're already a day ahead because we're down here.
Yes, I know. It's Thursday there, Wednesday here. But you know what? You're coming back. I understand. And so watch out for the jet lag when you get back. That is going to be a bummer, I'm sure. So, Mark, you mentioned that you had seen Jerome, and I believe that the product that was in Greenspeed warehouse in the U.S. is now in-house in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
So the next follow-on question, of course, has to do with production. I know you're working on all that. Do you have some sort of sense for when a product may be heading out to the market for the Greenspeed products that you're going to be producing?
Everything's starting to ship right now. It was just trying to get it into our computer system. We just overhauled our entire computer system. So our whole team is learning and trying to get things dialed in. So putting it in there was a little bit of a challenge, but that's moving forward. So I believe stock is starting to flow back out. And fortunately, there is production actually being done in Taiwan, finished up actually right now on some key models. So the supply is coming. I would not be afraid of dealers taking orders and moving forward.
Yeah.
So just generally speaking, within a matter of weeks, you would say something like that, the dealer should be able to order Greenspeed products.
And
Yeah.
and I would add with that, so the U.S. inventory certainly was limited, and it's been a while since it's been really filled to its full capacity, all models, all colors, that sort of thing. And there's inventory here that will come back to the U.S. But even with that, there's probably some, small holes in the inventory levels, and that stuff I would say would all be corrected within probably 6 to 9 months to get the inventory levels to where we'd like to have it, so that dealers can order with consistency and consumers can get their product.
Makes sense. Now, how about the website? Because I just was on the website this afternoon. I don't see anything on there other than an announcement or whatever. Do you have some idea when the Greenspeed products will start appearing on the website?
Sure. So even that and new dealer list and that sort of thing, I would think probably within 3 weeks, that should be new information, new dealer list, and that sort of thing.
All right, that sounds great. All right, that's my questions. Now, what have I missed asking you? What is it that what is it you're dying to tell me, and then tell me what it is you are not dying to tell me.
Wow.
Marshall's doing pretty good driving on the other side of the road.
If you haven't, Gary,
Wait a minute. What do you mean pretty good?
Pretty good.
That's like an all or nothing thing, isn't it?
I'm not so sure that I'm going to come back to the United States. When you go to the other side of the hemisphere, when I'm in the US, I'm actually bald, but I've noticed that being down here has actually reversed the direction. So most of my hair is starting to fill in, and I may just stay here and let my hair grow long.
Mark, it's going to be very sad when Marshall actually sees this video of him taking his hat off and making those remarks. I'm afraid there's going to be some disappointment.
For anybody that sees this that has traveled with children, you can feel my pain.
You know what it's like, yeah.
I would say the eye-opening thing is just we live in our world sometimes of TerraTrike and now KMX, and we operate a certain way. And being able to see how Greenspeed has grown and developed and operated, and the legacy stuff. I mean, we're sifting through a lot of older stuff too that was once on a Greenspeed GT something, and it's really neat to see. But it's a great education of how things have operated. That's different than how we traditionally operate. So that's some of the delay and struggle trying to conform how they operate and how we operate, merging that and the learning curve there. But boy, seeing some of the legacy stuff, the testing tools for tire testing and the development of the Scorcher, there's a lot of history here. Even though they moved warehouses fairly recently, there's a lot of history still floating around here, and it's really neat to see where this brand has come from.
Yeah,
So.
I would punctuate that. I think it's almost sobering in some ways to be wandering through 30 years of recumbent history, both from a component level right down to a frame level. You might be going through bins and you come across something, this unique titanium part that hasn't been used in 20, 30 years. And luckily Stephen is here, and it's been great to go, what did this go on? And to learn that history and see the passion through that lens. Yeah.
So it's not all trikes and frames and metal. It's intellectual property as well as the physical property, isn't it? That you have gained. So that's wonderful. All right, guys. I think that should probably do it for us. I think we'll wrap it up and say goodbye. Thank you so much for taking the time out from Melbourne, Australia, I believe, where Greenspeed is located now, to bring us this update. It's very informative and really interesting to talk to you guys, as always. So Marshall and Mark, thank you so much for coming on the Laidback Bike Report. We will be talking to you again soon, I'm sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Bye-bye. So we're going to,
We'll get closer like this.
That's good. Remember, Mark, we are recording, so whatever you do, it will come back at some level, and I can be bought off too from the other guys at WizWheelz. So
we're upside down, so I don't know if that's exit left or exit right, but here we go.
I think it's exit up or down, huh? Okay, that might be it, folks. I think they've dumped me completely.